Hello and welcome to the Daily Fantasy 5 podcast for this Tuesday, August 13th. This is episode 173, and we are bringing you the 5 things you need to know every day in the world of fantasy sports. My name is Scott Gerson, and today we have 4 quick stories to talk about, and then we're going to be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, so we're going to start with a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can go pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99. This will help your kids ages 7 through 17 to get ahead in math class, help them get better grades, score higher on exams, and even get into college with a SAT math prep course at mathradio.com. Pick up a 30-day money-back guaranteed math course for as little as $9.99. www.mathradio.com. All right, so we have one baseball story and 3 NFL stories to get to before we head off and preview the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So starting in baseball, Yadier Molina, catcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, multi-time All-Star, is back on the squad, coming back off the injured list. He's been batting .261 with 4 homers on the season. Not really sure you want to go out and grab Molina right now. Maybe he's not the man. Outfielder Jose Martinez for the Cardinals is going to the injured list. So you get one, you lose one. Martinez has been batting .266 with 10 home runs. Not much of a loss there either. And that is the news from Major League Baseball. Let's go over to the football schedule and talk about a few things we kind of already knew. First of all, the Golden Tate suspension has been upheld. He'll miss the first 4 games of the year for the New York Giants. I love this for Shepard. I think Shepard and the tight end are going to be kind of the only options there in New York for at least the short term. I don't like New York, but I mean, they're going to have to throw the ball. I don't think the defense is going to be very good. They're going to be behind. So Shepard and all the other players on this team should be benefiting from Tate's suspension. The second story is Antonio Brown. He's going to be back in camp, or he is back in camp today. Apparently, he found a older new helmet. I don't know, some kind of nonsense. I think the whole thing was just a giant spectacle. I guess Hard Knocks is tonight, so we can check that out and report on that tomorrow and see if Antonio Brown has anything to say about his helmets. Should be interesting nonetheless. You got to love Hard Knocks. It's a good time. All right, let's check in with the Indianapolis Colts now. Andrew Luck, apparently he had a calf injury, and they're still calling it a calf injury, but there's also a bone injury or something now, Jim Irsay is saying. I don't know. There's something wrong with a bone in his foot, and he has a calf issue. So he's not going to practice until he's 100%. Who knows when that's going to be? I don't know. I'm worried about Andrew Luck right now. I've got him down to quarterback 5. He was quarterback 3 at the start of this whole process, so he's dropped a few spots. And honestly, I'm not getting Andrew Luck. I'm not drafting quarterbacks early anyway. But yeah, I'm definitely nervous about Andrew Luck. And that's it for the news portion of our show today. So today, we are continuing the NFL Countdown Extravaganza. We are 23 days from the NFL kickoff, where the Chicago Bears will face off against the Green Bay Packers on September 5th. That is a Thursday. But until then, let's keep going through the NFC South. And today we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This team was awful. I had to watch them all the time when I moved here from New York last year. And it's not really fun to have Tampa Bay being your only game when you're sitting at home. Definitely, with a young child at home, you don't get a chance to go out and watch every single game live. So it's not great to have Tampa Bay be the only option you have at home. And yes, I know I could go out and get Dish, but my cable is covered for free where I live. So I'm not going to just pay for a secondary cable service just to have the NFL. So I guess I'm going to have to be going out a lot this year. Anyway, the Buccaneers. So the first big question is that they won only 5 games last year. The reason is obvious. They had the worst defense in all of football. Yes, the worst defense. So how much has that group improved, or have they improved at all? Well, they lost their best player, Quan Alexander, in free agency, so that's not a good sign. They did sign Ndamukong Suh to replace Gerald McCoy, who they also lost. But, I mean, at this point, Suh is kind of a playoff player. He's great in the playoff and doesn't really try in the regular season. So what is he really going to do for the Buccaneers? This signing doesn't really make sense. It never did. I haven't heard anything about it since the day he signed. So maybe he's just a great influence in camp. I sincerely doubt it. Tampa Bay did add 5 defensive players in the first 4 rounds of the draft, which is pretty impressive. Can they make an instant impact? I don't know. I kind of doubt it. They did only draft 1 player on offense in the draft. So can this defense be better? I suppose they can't get any worse as they were the worst defense in the National Football League last year. I just don't see where they're going to get a lot better on defense. So I think they're definitely still going to be in the bottom third of the National Football League, but I doubt they'll be last again. Question number two: why wasn't this a top 10 offense last year? You would think with the horrible, horrible defense and the offense needing to come back from behind all the time that they would have at least a defense offense. And yes, they were decent. They were 12th in the league, but shouldn't this be a top 10 offense? I mean, they've got all the weapons in the world. They have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, OJ Howard, running backs in Barber and Jones. That group should be fine, but they just didn't get it done. So why weren't they better? Well, the answer is easy. It is the quarterback position. So everyone is high on Jameis Winston this year. Fitzmagic was good last year at times too, but then nobody could get over the hump. Jameis Winston was injured and benched, and I mean, it was just a big train wreck. So the question is, can Jameis Winston be the man this year behind an offensive line that ranked 20th last season? I don't know. He's seen his games played and all of his numbers basically decrease every single year he's been in the NFL. This is year 5. I mean, it's put up or shut up time for Mr. Winston. Do I think he can be a good NFL quarterback? Let me rephrase that. Do I think he can be the quarterback leading your team to a conference championship game? No, I do not. Do I think he can be a top 10 fantasy quarterback? Absolutely. I love Jameis Winston in fantasy. So let's go ahead and convert over to fantasy now. Jameis Winston is one of those guys who's being drafted, I believe, 19th on ESPN and ADP and quarterbacks. This guy is easily a top 10 quarterback if he plays every game. Per game last year, I know he was in the top 10. I think he was number 7 overall in a per game basis. So Jameis Winston can absolutely play. There's nobody left to come in for him. They can't bench him. Either he's going to be great and they're going to roll, or he's not and they're going to suck. And that's just all there is to it. So I love Jameis Winston for fantasy. I just don't like this team in real life. Other fantasy players, Mike Evans, easily a top 10 wide receiver. Definitely will hit his value there. Chris Godwin is one of the best secondary wide receiver options. That's why I mean, Jameis Winston just has everything going for him in terms of weapons. OJ Howard at tight end, man. OJ Howard is probably a top 5 tight end. Chris Godwin is a top at least 25 to 30 wide receiver. I mean, this team has it all. And I also like Rondell Jones, Jones at running back, second-year running back. He didn't really get all the opportunities last year. I think he comes out strong and replaces Barber as the every down back this season. So I like all those guys. I mean, I don't have a problem drafting any one of those players. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys that I like them all. Go ahead and draft all the Tampa Bay Buccaneers you want because this defense is going to be bad again, and means good things for the offense because garbage time points count just as much in fantasy as points in the first quarter do. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit distracted here. A duck is going crazy in our lake behind the house here today. Maybe he's caught a fish. I don't see a fish. I just see him going nuts in the water. I don't know, maybe there's an octopus attacking the duck. I'm not really sure what's happening, but the duck seems to be having fun. Anyway, let's close the show before we get into any more duck talk with the over-under. Vegas has this team winning 6.5 games. I don't think so. I think this team is going to be one of the worst teams in football. At some point, they're going to be tanking for Tua. They're going to be looking for their new quarterback, and I have them at 3 wins. So I'm definitely an under for the Buccaneers this year. Give me the under, no doubt about it. I'm lower by, 3.5 games? Yeah, I'm taking the under on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's it for the show today. Tomorrow we'll be back continuing the NFL Countdown Extravaganza. We'll talk about all the news and all that good stuff. What else do we have going on? That's it. Nothing. Please visit our sponsor, www.mathradio.com. If you're listening to the podcast, give us a 5-star rating and a review. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that red subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. Leave any comments there below. All right, baby. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Whoops. That was the wrong button. Let's try to end this again. There we go.